What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my review of the Infinix Zero 30 5G. So without further ado, let's get started. Now I'd like to thank Infinix for being kind enough to send this phone out to me to cover here on the channel. Now as usual, all opinions expressed in this video are completely my own, but I'm looking forward to showing you everything that I know about this device. Now even though the Infinix Zero 30 5G is meant to be a mid-range smartphone, they're packing in a lot of really premium and impressive features with this phone. Now one example of a really premium feature that we're getting here with this phone is that we're getting a 50 megapixel front-facing camera that can record video at 4K at up to 60 FPS. So that's really cool, but again, there's many other cool things I want to show you here about this phone. But before we get too far into things, let's see what all comes included in the box. So here's the box. You can see right there the name of the device, and then on the back we have some basic specifications about this device, but I'll be getting into all of this in this video. But included here is a clear plastic case, so that's really nice to have. We're also getting a 68 watt USB wall adapter. So that's really impressive, and I'm really glad that they're including this as well. We're getting a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer, and then finally, we're getting a SIM card removal tool. So we're getting everything included here to get started. I also want to point out that we're getting a built-in screen protector here with the phone, but it's not really a durable screen protector. It's really more of a thin film, but I have chosen to leave it on the device, but this is optional, and of course, if you want to take it off or swap it out for a more durable screen protector, you certainly can do that. But with the Infinix Zero 30 5G, we're getting a very large 6.78-inch display, and this display does feature Corning Gorilla Glass 5, making it extra durable. Now the display itself is AMOLED, and it actually features a 144Hz refresh rate. So a really fast and smooth refresh rate, and I've actually never even used a smartphone before that does run at 144Hz. That's a dramatic step up from the 60Hz that we used to get for a long time with smartphones. And lately, we've definitely been seeing more devices with 120Hz and especially 90Hz as the refresh rate. But to jump all the way up to 144Hz is really something that I don't see too often. And then with this display being AMOLED, we're getting really good viewing angles and also excellent colors as well. Now this display is 1080p, so that does make things really crisp and clear here. And we're getting a PPI of 388. And then this phone does feature a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor. And we're getting a 90% screen to body ratio, so really small bezels all throughout. Then up top here, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, we are getting a 50 megapixel front facing camera, and it is located in this hole punch up top. But stay tuned for later on in the video, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from all the various cameras on this device. Now internally, with this phone, we're getting 256 gigabytes of storage. 256 gigs is a very generous amount, and that should be plenty of space. Now with this device, there's no wireless charging, which is a bit unfortunate, but a nice premium feature that we are getting here is an in-display fingerprint sensor. So we'll try this right now, and as you can see, it's very fast and very accurate. Let's try it one more time. So again, you can see how well that works. So it's definitely awesome to see that even though this isn't necessarily a very expensive smartphone, we are getting premium features like that in-display fingerprint sensor. But also in addition to that, this phone has face unlock, so I do appreciate as well that we have multiple methods for getting into the phone itself. Now taking a look at the camera module on the back of the device, we are getting a triple camera setup. So we're getting a 108 megapixel main camera, a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 120 degrees, and we're getting a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera to assist with portrait mode. Now here's how things look on the camera app on the device. This is the main rear camera right now. Then from there we can switch over to the ultra wide angle camera, and you can fit a lot more content into a single frame. I'm definitely a big fan of the ultra wide camera, and I definitely do use it in real life, and especially if I'm on vacation, maybe there's a large building I want to take a photo of or a bunch of scenery around me. The ultra wide camera is really a nice way to kind of change things up from the standard camera. Then from here we can head over to portrait mode to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. We even have the ability here as well to adjust the amount of blur, so you can do less blur or more blur. Then flipping around to the front-facing camera, we can also take portrait selfies and adjust the blur for that too. And then we can also go to the main camera and take standard selfies too. And then if you do want to take selfies in that full 50 megapixels, which the front-facing camera is capable of, you then need to go up here and select 50M. And then from there, you can actually take front-facing photos at the full 50 megapixels. Now heading over to video mode, you can see here that we can indeed take front-facing video at 4K at up to 60 FPS. So a ton of different options here when taking front-facing video. That's why they're advertising this phone as being a great phone if you like to record vlogs, for example. And then flipping around to the rear camera, you can see that we have options for 4K at 30 FPS, 1080p at 30 FPS, and then 720p at 30. And then flipping over to the rear camera, we can see the video options up here. You can see that we're pretty much getting the same options here. So 4K at 60, 4K at 30, and then 1080p as well, and even 720p too. So a lot of different video options for both the front-facing camera and rear camera on this phone. And then also with the ultra-wide camera, you can record video at 4K, but it is limited at 30 FPS. But let's take a look at some camera samples from the Infinix Zero 30 5G. So I've been very impressed with the photo and video quality from the Infinix Zero 30 5G. Now you can see these images right in front of you, so I'll let you be the judge on the quality, but for a phone that's meant to be a mid-range device, I am very impressed. I feel like colors are excellent. Also, it's able to do a great job at kind of separating the shadows from the lighter areas. So overall, I really couldn't ask for a better smartphone camera, especially for a phone in this particular segment. It also does an excellent job at focusing on different objects, so you get that nice blur in the background. And I would say for most people, probably 99% of people out there, this phone will be able to take plenty good photos, so you're not going to have really any issues at all if maybe you want to post the images that you're taking with this phone on social media, or even if maybe you use this phone as your business phone and you need a decent camera. I think you'll be very satisfied with all the various cameras here on the device. And even when it comes to selfies, it does a great job with that too, and that really great front-facing camera makes things even better. But let's now take a look at some video samples from the Infinix Zero 30 5G. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 4K front-facing test video from the Infinix Zero 30 5G. Definitely curious to know what you think about the video and audio quality. And here's a 4K test video using the main rear camera on the Infinix Zero 30 5G. We're getting kind of towards the end of the day, so it is pretty bright outside. And we do have very quick autofocus in video mode, which is great. And here's a 4K test video using the ultra-wide camera on the Infinix Zero 30 5G. So it's definitely nice that we can indeed record video with the ultra-wide camera, but keep in mind that you cannot switch between the ultra-wide camera and the regular camera while recording a single video. So you do have to stop the video and then start a new video if you're switching between the two cameras. Now with the Infinix Zero 30 5G, we're getting 8 GB of RAM paired up with the MediaTek Dimensity 8020 processor. Now, 8 gigs of RAM is a really good amount. I mean, that's a lot overall, so you won't have any issues when it comes to RAM on this device. And then the processor that we're getting here is actually very capable as well. I'm impressed that it does a nice job handling that 4K 60 FPS video. Sometimes for certain devices, especially mid-range phones, that can sometimes be a struggle, so the phone doesn't get too hot or anything like that. So it's a really good processor here in the device. Also, when it comes to general performance, like navigating around the phone, going on different apps and things like that, there's really no lag, everything's nice and smooth, and then also the phone's plenty powerful to handle that 144Hz refresh rate display. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and here are the scores that I got from that test. And overall, I'm actually very impressed with these scores. You can see a single core score of 1003 and a multi-core score of 3345. So based on these scores, I would say this phone really performs more like a flagship rather than a mid-range device. This is really impressive, and this phone really does offer some really competitive performance. Again, maybe the level of performance isn't necessarily the best of the best out there, but for pretty much most people out there, this phone will be plenty fast. So no need to be concerned when it comes to that. And then also with this phone, we are getting 5G connectivity, so you will be able to use this phone with your carrier's latest and greatest 5G network. Now with the Infinix Zero 30 5G, we're getting a very large 5000 mAh internal battery, and this phone also supports up to 68 watt fast charging. So that's really fast as well, so not only are we getting a big battery with this phone, but it won't take you too long to replenish it. And then also with this device, we are getting NFC, so you can use it for tap and pay, using services such as Google Pay, for example. So that's really useful. And then the phone is running Android 13 out of the box, and then it does feature Infinix's skin laid over Android. But overall, I'd say their skin adds a lot of extra bonus features, and I actually have a dedicated tips and tricks video coming out soon about this phone here on the channel. And in that video, I'll show you all my favorite top features related to the brand's specific take on Android. Now, taking a closer look at the hardware of this device, the phone is made completely of plastic besides the display, which is made of glass. But taking a look at the left side of the device, we have nothing. Then on the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and also the power button. Then up top here, we have the secondary speaker, and then we also have the noise canceling microphone. Then on the bottom of the phone, we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the main speaker. So with these two speakers on the device, we are actually getting stereo sound with the Infinix Zero 35G. So that's a really good thing. Basically, when you're watching a video or listening to music, for example, you'll be getting audio out of both of these speakers, really making that a much better audio listening experience because it'll be louder, richer, and also more immersive. And then on the back of the phone, we have the camera module with the flash. And this material on the back is really cool looking, so based on the angle that you're looking at the phone, it does look slightly different, but I also like kind of this interesting wavy look to it on the back as well. So this is a really unique material. I've not seen this on pretty much any phone that I've covered in the past, and I really like it a lot. Now, one of the signature features with this device, at least when it comes to the software, is that this phone actually has ChatGPT built into it. Now, if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, it's basically an AI-powered assistant, so it's kind of similar to Siri or Google Assistant, but unlike those services, ChatGPT uses artificial intelligence to give you responses. Now, you can access it via this app called FullX, so we'll go there. And there's a lot of different options. For example, it actually gives you some recommendations as well. But if you want to, you can just tap right there and ask it a question. Give me a recipe for vegetable soup.
Sure, I'd be happy to share a recipe for vegetable soup. Here's a simple
So that's really cool, as you can see. But also, there's another way to access this. Just hold down the power button and it'll take you over to that same ChatGPT powered assistant. So we'll give this a try right now. How often do you need to change the oil on a car?
Oh, the topic of cars. Well, as an AI, I don't personally own it to 5,000.
So that's really nice. I will say that some of these responses are a little bit longer than they need to be. It doesn't need to remind me that it's an AI assistant every time I use it, so I really wish it would just jump right to the answer instead of kind of wasting about 5 to 10 seconds there. But maybe they'll make some changes to it in the future. I'm also not crazy about the voice either. I feel like it sounds very unnatural. But again, I'm really glad at least that we have this feature built in because ChatGPT is very powerful and of course uses some of the latest AI technology here on the channel. However, all opinions expressed in this video and the other ones that I've made about these devices are completely my own. And also, if you do want to see additional content about either... So the Infinix Zero 35G is an excellent device for watching video content, both because the picture itself looks great on this really massive 6.78-inch display, but also the speakers are really loud and, again, as I mentioned before, provide a very immersive audio listening experience. So between the massive canvas here to view the video and then also the great speakers, this phone really is excellent for watching video content. So in conclusion, I'm a big fan of the Infinix Zero 35G. I think this phone really provides a ton of value here, and for being a mid-range device, there's really not that many, if any, compromises here. Now, of course, the materials being made out of plastic aren't necessarily as premium as some of the more top-of-the-line devices, but again, for what it is and for what we're getting here, it's very impressive. I also appreciate, too, how refined the software is and all the extra bonus features they've given us as well. But most importantly, I'm curious to know what you think about this device. Do you think this phone is a good option, worth getting? Definitely let me know. But this is Kevin here. Thanks again, Infinix, for sending this phone out to me. And with all that said, I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.